Hi, second graders. Today we are going to be learning about place value. So our learning target for today says we are learning to understand the value of the digits in a 3-digit number and write 3-digit numbers in expanded form. So I want you to pay attention to this word expanded form. You might remember it because we've talked about it earlier this year. So we are going to start by doing a quick review of what we learned in our math lesson from earlier this week. Now, if you remember, we talked about how squares represent 100, sticks represent 10, and circles represent 1. We talked about looking at a number like, let's say, 321. And we saw the hundreds, the tens, and the ones in 321, and we represented that using a picture. So since I have 300s in 321, I'm going to draw 300 boxes. I have 2 tens in 321, so I need 2 of those 10 sticks. And I have 1 1, so I will need 1 circle. So this number can be represented or shown by that picture I just drew. Now we also talked about looking at a picture like this and counting up what it is worth. So I know that each box is worth what? 100. Each stick is worth what? A 10. And each circle is worth what? A 1. So if I count those up, I see that I have 100, 200, 210, 220, 230, 240, and 250. Then I have to count my ones. 251, 252, 253, and 254. So this picture right here represents the number 254. So that is a review of what we did earlier this week. Now the next thing we are going to learn about is that word I mentioned earlier in our learning target, and that word is expanded form. So expanded form means you are stretching out a number and looking at each small piece of that number. So let's say that I have the number 618. Okay, so 618. When I look at that number, I know that in my hundreds place, I see a 6. Now that 6 is worth 600. So I'm going to draw out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hundreds. In my tens, I see a 1. Now that 1 is worth 10. So I'm going to draw a 10 stick. And finally, in my ones place, I see the number 8. So that number 8 is worth 8 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let me look at each individual part of that number. First, I see that there is the 6 in the hundreds. So these 100 boxes I drew are worth 600. Now, my 10 stick, I only have 1, and that is worth 10. My 8 ones are worth 8. So I just expanded this number. I see that 600 plus 10 plus 8 will give me 618. So this equation that I just made right here is writing the number 618 in expanded form. So this time I'm just going to look at a number. Let's say I have 759. Now I know that in my hundreds place I have 7. So that is worth 700. In my tens place I have a 5. 5 tens are worth 50. And in my ones place, I have a 9. 9 ones are worth 9. So I see that 700 plus 50 plus 9 will give me 759. I expanded my number up here and I stretched it out down below into this big equation. So that is how we do expanded form. Let's do one more. This time I'm going to look at the number 426. So I know that I have 4 hundreds. That 4 in my hundreds place is worth 4 hundreds. The 2 in my tens place is worth 20. And the 6 in my ones place is worth 6. So to expand 426, I get 400 plus 20 plus 6 equals 426. Now sometimes you'll see a problem where you are given the expanded form and you need to write the number that goes with it. So let's say I have 400 plus 80 plus 2. 400 plus 80 plus 2. If I need to write that as a normal or standard number, I see that I have 4 hundreds. I see that I have 8 tens, and I see that I have 2 ones. 400 plus 80 plus 2 equals 482. Now what happens if we see a problem like this? Right now I have 6 plus 70 plus 900. Now, I need to make sure that I pay attention to the order of these numbers. I'm starting with the ones. Then I see the tens next, and then finally I see the hundreds. So when I rewrite that number, I need to make sure I'm still starting with my hundreds. So I want to start with 9 for 900s. Then I'm going to go to the tens, so I'm going to write a 7, and then I'm going to write the 6 ones. Because even though this is 6 plus 70 plus 900, I need to make sure that when I rewrite it, I have the numbers in order of hundreds, tens, and ones. All right, second graders, great job following along with this lesson. Now your job is to stop the video and go on to the homework and remembering pages.